Hello and welcome to episode 21 of Prosperity by the Pint. I am your host, Brice Carter, certified financial planner, chartered financial consultant, certified investment management analyst, and self-proclaimed millennial money expert. This is a show where we talk about business, investing, life, success, money, financial planning, and all while having a cold beer. This week, I am drinking from Texas Ale Project, 100 Million Angels Singing Double IPA, with 100 IBUs, International Bitter Units, in case you didn't know what that stood for. And it's a 9.2% alcohol double IPA. Let's give it a shot. It's got a beautiful golden color, a little cloudy for my taste, but we'll see how it tastes. Oh boy, that is delicious. I wish it wasn't cloudy, but it is delicious. You can just taste the pine right off that. Basically, if you like squeegeeing pine needles into a can and then alcoholizing it, that's what I like. So here we go. This week, I want to talk about compound interest and why you should start saving early. So Einstein, he said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Start now. Start saving early. The earlier you start to save, the more wealth you will accumulate. If you have $100, so here's how compound interest works. Math 101. If you have $100 and you make 10% on the $100, so you have a 10% investment account or bank account or whatever, and you make 10% on that, you made $10. Okay. Guess what you're going to make the following year if you make 10% again? You're going to make $11 because now instead of having $100 making 10%, you have $110 making 10%. So instead of making 10 now, you're going to make 11. Now extrapolate that over very long periods of time. Very long meaning 20, 30, 40 years. So it doesn't take saving a lot to accumulate a lot over a period of time because interest is interest. Compound interest is interest on interest, if that makes sense. Compound interest is interest that you earn on interest. The same is true for debt. If you're not paying on debt, then it's accumulating interest, and the interest is accumulating interest. So saving early. This is not a terribly complicated topic, and it's not a terribly long topic, but I thought it was important enough to spend a whole episode simply on compound interest. I own a financial advising firm. Most of you should know that by now if you're a dedicated listener. I'm a financial advisor by trade. Certified financial planner is the credential that I hold, the first one that I got that goes into serious financial planning. In our advisory firm, we did a survey recently. Now, we sent this to our clients and asked our retired clients to answer the survey. And among the questions, one of them was the biggest regret or thing that you could go back and tell your younger self about retirement. And by and large, the number one response was, I would tell myself to start saving earlier. And people would say a mix of things. I wish I would start saving earlier, but I'm happy with what I have now. I wish I had started my 401k on day one instead of waiting 5 years. All those things mean to say is that saving early pays dividends literally and figuratively throughout your life. So I need a beer break. That was a dramatic statement. I had a guest on last week, as you know, Amir Bali. If you haven't listened to that episode, you should check it out. One thing I love about a guest is I get to finish my beer because then I don't have long, awkward pauses for the podcast listeners while I'm taking a beer break. So a simple fact is that when you start saving, outweighs how much you save. So I want to break this down. So let's give a couple of examples. Let's use three people. Let's just say Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, and Bruce Banner. Let's say Tony Stark invests $5,000 per year beginning at age 18. And then at age 28, Tony Stark stops. So he saves for 10 years, a total of $50,000. Now, Steve Rogers invests the same $5,000. He begins investing at 28 and saves until he's 58. So for 30 years, a total of $150,000 saved total. Okay. Bruce Banner, he's our diligent saver. He began saving at 18 and continues in investing until retirement at age 58. So you have three people One invested 50,000, but early. One invested 150, and one invested 200. So who's going to have the most money? Obviously, Bruce Banner, because he saved for 40 years and he saved the most amount. He started at 18 and ended at 58. Who's going to have the second most? Steve Rogers, who saved 150,000, or Tony Stark, who saved 50, 150 versus 50. Who's going to have the most at retirement? Now, if you're assuming a 7% rate of return, Tony Stark is going to have more money because 10 years of accumulating interest. The point being, when you start investing is much, much more important. I shouldn't say much, much more important because it's important to save a good amount as well. Is extremely important. So start early. And this is where I'm going to give you my little pep talk on quit making some damn excuses. So I hear a lot of stuff. Markets are volatile. It's not the right time to invest. I hear this one mostly from older people. Markets were volatile in 2009, right? Yeah, markets went down the first 3 months of 2009. But you still would be ahead today. You'd be ahead a year later, depending on when you invested. Markets are always volatile. There's never an extremely calm period of time. Market volatility is not a reason to sit on cash. Not all the time, anyways. I have a lot of big expenses coming up. I don't want to start contributing to my Roth IRA. Don't make the big expenses then. You need to start saving. You have to pay yourself first before you worry about buying stuff, right? I just want to, we're going to get past our marriage first. We're going to get past the wedding first. I wanted to save up for X, so I'm putting money in cash. You need to start investing today. Tomorrow is too late. Start as soon as you can. The earlier you start saving, the better. So I do want to touch on something real quick too, is how conservatively young people are investing. So there's a lot of statistics that show that millennials are investing much, much more conservatively. That's because we came of age during the financial crisis, 2008. You have, if you're a millennial, if you're 30 years old right now, you have 30 years or more until you need the money, which means you can weather ups and downs in the market, and you're not going to exactly pick the best time to start saving. So start doing it now. Don't invest conservatively. If you're very young, and I say this with full disclosure, your personal financial situation matters. So there are circumstances in which this isn't true. But if you're young, you should probably be invested pretty damn aggressively, almost 100% equities. I can't say that definitively, and you shouldn't take my financial advice on this because I don't know you and you don't know me. You can give me a call if you want. You can send me a message, and maybe I can answer a question related to your specific circumstances a little bit more detailed. But here's the thing. If you're young, you have time to weather the storm. You should invest nearly as aggressively as you can personally take, which is almost 100% equities. And so I needed to say that because too many young people are investing too conservatively. Like I said, this is an overly simple topic. It's a pretty short topic, and it's a short conversation in the sense that you need to start investing earlier. The earlier you start saving is much, much more important than how much you save. And that is this week's episode of Prosperity by the Pint. Be sure to subscribe, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you listen. That's where we are. Thanks and cheers.